Hey everybody, so tonight I'm going to experiment with making a banana pudding, but I'm going to add some bourbon peaches to it. So I hope it turns out okay. I'm going to start the first process of what I'm going to do to the peaches. These are just, what are these? Freestone peach slices. So I'm just gonna get these in the pot with a few other ingredients, but then I'll come back and let you guys know what I'm doing. Okay, y'all, don't mind my stove top because it needs to be cleaned. But I'm gonna start with a stick of butter in the pan. Let me turn it down some. I do want it to brown a little bit, so I can make like a brown butter, peach, brown sugar, bourbon glaze to put the peaches in. So let's first start with the butter. And like I said, I'm going to let it brown a little bit. Okay, the butter is brown, not burnt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that off of the eye for a second. And then I'm going to add my Moreno sugar, which is turbinado sugar, as well as my brown sugar. And my, what else am I going to put in this? My vanilla. Okay, so I have my turbinado sugar and my brown sugar in, and then I'm just gonna pour about a tablespoon of vanilla, and then I'm gonna turn my heat back up to high. And I want this to come to like a rolling boil so that my sauce gets thick and it turns into like a caramel. And then I'll be adding the Tupelo honey to that. And then I'll let that burn off. I'll let the alcohol burn off of it, and then I'll add my peaches. Okay. Okay, this is turning into like a caramel sauce. And it smells really good. And my pot is spinning because of this surface top. It's on a flat surface top. But I'm going to let this cook, and everything's going to get incorporated. And then I'll add about 1/4 cup of the Tupelo honey whiskey. Then like I said, I'll let the alcohol burn off of it. Then I'll add my peaches so that they can simmer for about 30-35 minutes so they can reduce. And then we have like a nice caramelly glazed peach compote. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I added 2 ladles of the whiskey, and it brought the temperature of that up a little bit. So I'm just going to let that reduce. Like I said, I'm going to let the alcohol content of it cook off. And then I will add my peaches in and get everything mixed together. Okay, so in go my frozen peaches. It doesn't matter if they're frozen. They're going to cook down anyways. So I'm going to add that in and get those mixed up. And then I'll be back to show you guys what it looks like when it cooks. Okay, so I have my peaches in, and they're starting to unthaw in the whiskey caramel sauce. I guess that's what we're calling it right now. Basically, I'm just going to let these stay at like this temperature with a rolling boil, and where they bubble a little bit. And I'm going to let that sauce reduce by at least half, so that it is a little bit thicker than that. Because you see before it was super thick, and then when I add the peaches and the peach juice in, it kind of thinned our sauce out a little bit. So by leaving it this temperature and letting it boil and reduce, it's going to, half of the sauce is going to reduce down, and it's going to make this thicker. So I'll be back in the next 35-45 minutes to when I have like a good consistency with this, and then I'll start putting my banana pudding together and then figuring out how I'm going to incorporate this. So y'all stay tuned. Okay, everybody, so this is reduced, not half of its size in the liquid, but it's close enough. But I did taste it, and it doesn't have enough I don't know, like depth and flavor when it comes to like the bourbon whiskey aspect. So I found some peach flavored brandy in our alcohol cabinet. So I'm gonna add about the same amount that I added of the Tupelo honey whiskey. I'm going to add about the same amount of peach brandy and see if that bumps the flavor up a little bit. So when I add it in, I added like 2 ladlefuls in there, and it thinned it out just a little bit. So I'm gonna let this reduce for about another 15 more minutes to let it get like super thick. And then I'll taste it and see if that does the job. And then I'll be back so that I can assemble the banana pudding. Okay, so I'm about to get started on the pudding part of my peach bourbon banana pudding. That's what I'm calling it. Okay, so, everything I have is off-brand because for some reason everybody done snatched everything named brand up. So I had to settle with what was at hand. So I got a pack of the instant French vanilla pudding, a can of sweetened condensed milk. I have some original Cool Whip. I have heavy cream, which I'm going to mix that with water to make the French vanilla pudding because I want it to be thick. I don't want it to be like loose and runny. Like I like my banana pudding, this version of banana pudding, to be extremely thick. So I have a pack of Chessman butter cookies, original vanilla wafers, 2 bananas because, to be honest, I fucking hate, oh, excuse me, Lord. I hate bananas. Like, I do not like bananas. I just don't like bananas, but I love banana pudding. So I'm going to cut those 2 up and put those in there. But this is everything I'm going to use. I may not record the process because basically I'm following the directions on here on how to make the pudding. And then I'm going to fold in the cream cheese, which is on the stove, not really thawing out, but it's getting room temperature. And then I'm going to fold in the sweetened condensed milk. And then I'm going to fold in the Cool Whip. And I'm going to fold all this stuff in so that it doesn't get flat. So yeah. So once I get everything combined in the bowl, then that's when I'll come back and show y'all like how everything is going. Okay. Okay, so my peach mixture has turned into like a very thick glaze. So I'm going to turn the heat off. All right, so I turned the heat off and I'm gonna let this sit for a minute and I'm gonna let that cool a little bit because it is extremely thick and it's extremely hot. So I'll let this reduce for about 30 minutes. Even after I put the peach bourbon in, I'm sorry, the peach brandy in. So it is like a thick sauce now. So that's gonna be perfect. That's gonna be perfect. So I'm just gonna let this cool and I'm gonna start on making my pudding. Okay, so once I get the pudding made and everything, I'll be back so that I can show y'all how I assemble it, and then we're gonna let it chill, and then tomorrow is when we're going to try it. So I'll be right back. So I've got my pudding mixed, and like I said before, instead of using cold milk, I mixed 1 cup of heavy cream with 1 cup of water. So I did like half and half on those cups. And because I want my pudding to be thick, nothing I hate more than like a runny banana pudding. So my pudding is super thick. So now I'm going to move on to mixing together my softened cream cheese and some of the sweetened condensed milk. And then once that's mixed, let me move that paper over. Once that's mixed, I'm going to fold in the Cool Whip and then I'll add both of these together. So I have my cream cheese and sweetened condensed milk mixed together. So the next step is going to be, which I have to get these bananas cut up. The next step is going to be putting this mixture into the pudding mixture, and then that's when I'll fold in the Cool Whip. Okay, so I'll be back. Currently I am folding. I can't get a good angle on it because I'm holding the camera with one hand, but I am folding in the Cool Whip to my cream cheese, sweetened condensed milk, and pudding mixture. It's very important to fold it in. Do not stir it. Don't blend it. In order to keep its volume so that it's not flat, as I've mentioned before, it is very crucial that you fold that Cool Whip in. So I'm going to continue folding this in. And guys, I'm not measuring anything. I'm kind of winging it. That's typically how I cook. I don't really measure stuff, and I'm not really going by a like a set in stone recipe. But I guess when if I figure out it comes out good, then I'll try to remember like the measurements that I added in there. But as of now, I'm just, like I said, I'm experimenting, and I'm kind of just going with the flow with this. So once I fold all the whipped cream in, I'll get my cookies and bananas and peaches into the pan, and then I'll come back and show you guys how I set that up. Okay, so my mixture is done, and I did add a little bit more peach brandy to my mix instead of just the peaches, just to get that flavor in there. But my mixture is done, so I'm going to start assembling the pudding. Then I'm going to get it in the fridge so it can chill, and then hopefully in the morning I can try it and it tastes good, and then I can share the recipe. Okay, so my first layer is going to be vanilla wafers, and then I'm going to take maybe half a row. What's that? 5 cookies, and I'm going to crumble these in. I have some different stuff. 6 cookies. Let's make it 6. So then, here's where I'm going to add the bananas. Mind y'all, I only did 2 bananas because I don't like bananas. But I like banana pudding. So I'm going to spread those bananas out, and then I'm going to put my peach compote on top. So this is what the bananas and cookie layer, the first layer, looks like. And then I'm just going to like spread this caramel peach sauce on top of here, and then I'll put my pudding on top it with the cookies, and then okay, so I have my caramel peach sauce down. So now I'm going to top it with the pudding, then I'll be back once again. My pudding is going on, and I'm going to spread that out evenly on top of here. Okay. Spread that evenly. And then I have a little bit more in the bowl. I'm going to just put the rest of that on there, and then I'm going to make the top of it. I'm going to put a little bit, the last bit of the peaches on top with the chessman cookies. And then I'll show you guys the finished product. And then I may try it. I'd rather it be ice cold before I try it. But I may try it just to see if the flavors go well with each other. So I will be back. You guys, so I am done. I spread the last little bit of the bourbon peach sauce on top of the pudding. I arranged the cookies in like a little, whatever you want to call it, formation, and then I crumbled the last few cookies with a few of those vanilla wafers, and I sprinkled that on top. I will cover this and put this in the fridge so that it can chill and set overnight, and I will try it first thing in the morning, let you guys know how it tastes. But this recipe has literally been in my head. Like, I've been trying to like put everything together in my head, and I finally just thought, let me just go to the store and get this stuff and just make it. So this is a recipe that I come up with, and like I said, once I taste it tomorrow, and if it's good, I can share the recipe. If not, I'm not doing it. But this is the finished product, and I'm excited because it looks really good. So yeah, all right, I'll be back first thing in the morning to try it. Excuse my voice because I just woke up, but it is the next morning, and this has chilled in the refrigerator overnight. So I'm gonna take about a square out of here and see how it tastes. So this is me removing it, and it's set up really nice, and I think it's because I used the heavy whipping cream in the pudding instead of cold milk. So let me get a taste and see how it goes. Okay, so it's safe to say this is good because I done ate what was on my plate. Y'all, this is so good. Look at that.